La la li la 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 la. 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 Ram pam. Alrighty. Oh, I didn't clean the rice cooker out. Fuck. Oh, we gotta make some fried rice soon. Oh my god. I need a new container anyways. What the fuck? Where did that happen? Full ass fridge. Full ass fridge. Okay. Alrighty. Basmati rice, I think, for today. Pardon me. Okay. Hey, yeah, I'm live.
Okay.
I don't think anybody's in yet. Oh, never mind, people are in.
I just wanted to ask if you wanted to give Alex my number so she can text me when she gets here so I can...
Yeah, I should do that. I can't... Well, I'm live, so I don't want to post your number on my stream.
Oh, true.
Here, I'm gonna... Do you have your phone?
Yeah.
Okay. That's Alex's number. Okay. Okay, good idea. Thanks, baby.
I'm gonna get off of your stick with my pen now.
No problem. Okay, thanks for that. That's a good idea. Okay, we're back. We're back. It's rice time. I'm gonna go for a longer grain rice with the gumbo. You can kind of do whatever you want here. I think just basmati makes sense. I'm not sure what would be like the classic rice for this. Probably something from like the US, and I know the US has a lot of great indigenous rices. I'm just not familiar with what in particular would be like super classic here. But we have a lot of long grain left over, and we have less short grain left over, and this feels like a nice long grain application to me. So here we are. Classic aged basmati, the most readily available rice in Toronto. So beautiful. I really took for granted growing up how easy it is to find like whatever rice you want, because we have an amazing mix of South Asian, East Asian, etc. All sorts of stuff here. I'm very, very lucky. But also basmati, you know, it's my first rice, my first love. Growing up in the Indian part of the city. Beautiful. Toronto food? Yeah, we're lucky. Welcome, Lynn. Welcome as well. Good to hear from you. Good to see you. Yeah, we're very lucky to be in Toronto. I'll say that much. Probably do, I think, 4 rinses on basmati. I like to do like 4 or 5 on short grain. I think long grain tends to need a little bit less. Yeah, it's coming out super clean. I think 1 more rinse should be absolutely it. And then we get the rice rolling, and then our sort of like final half-hour timer for the finished meal is pretty much locked and loaded. Some of you may have noticed my bowl of protein here. I'll talk about this in a second. But essentially, I got in the gumbo, I took all of the chicken out. 2 hours at a nice healthy little low burble is enough to braise out any sort of like dark meat chicken to be completely tender, borderline falling off the bone. But I've had mishaps before with chicken, especially whole legs falling off the bone. You will find bones that you did not know were in that bird, and they will hurt you if you are not careful. But basically, there is a bone in the drumstick that runs parallel to the main bone. You know, like the fibula for humans, I guess, right? Maybe it's probably called that in chickens too. I'm just not like 100%. And that bone is so thin and so tiny that if your meat is braised enough to where the meat's falling off the bones, that little tiny guy is gonna be like a sharp needle of chicken that can splinter. And that is a bad time. I've had that happen once, and I learned to not do that again. So the extra step that I like to take is just pull all the chicken out, give it a bit to cool down, get some gloves on, and then just sort of shred it apart. I like to keep the pieces as big as possible, because at this point the meat's so tender, and the meat's really just going to rehydrate in the gumbo, which I will show you in just a second. But we got our rice, we got the water, lid on, boom. All right. Let's take a look at what we got going on in here. Very beautiful. This is just the liquid, by the way, right? Keep in mind that the chicken's all rendered out. And we're gonna add in the chicken along with, as you can see, I've got the kielbasa cut up there too. Or smoked sausage of your choice, etc., right? At this point, I'm gonna keep the lid off because I'm looking really just to sort of like amalgamate my flavors and hopefully reduce it a little bit. It's a nice consistency here for like a stew. You can see it's like, it's a liquid, and then as you pull it up, it really has that like nice saucy consistency from our gorgeous, gorgeous roux. So, it is time. Being very careful so as to not splash anything. And that is our whole gumbo. Look at that. Amazing. You are going to get those little shreds of chicken hanging out. I think that they honestly just are great. I think they're really gorgeous and beautiful. It depends what kind of texture you want. If you want a more, if you want a firmer chicken to it, then I would go for not a bone-in meat. And I would just give it a little bit less time. You know, it's pretty simple. That part's pretty malleable. But yeah, if we're going that little above and beyond step, I really like to just sort of take it apart and take the chicken, make nice little pieces, and then yeah, just have a beautiful little end product with a little bit of extra time, a little bit of extra care, and a little bit of that tingly feeling on your fingers from when they're submerged in hot stuff for a little while. And now we wait. I came back to stir this every 20 to 30 minutes, I would say, because when this is so rich and fatty that fat is going to coalesce on top, and you want to sort of stir it back down so it doesn't form that film. That film is going to be a bit of an enemy. And also on the bottom, you may get a little layer of stuff stuck, because the Dutch oven is a great conductor of heat, but this is still a shitty coil stove, so the bottom is going to be the hottest, so you just want to make sure you're lifting stuff off, nothing's burning. You know, it's pretty simple. We're not talking about rocket science here, but it is going to make a difference to just make sure that stuff ain't sticking. And yeah, damn, that's pretty much it, eh? And I did a lot of cleaning off camera, as you can see. We'll try to just finish off the last little bit of cleaning here. If anybody has any questions about gumbo in the meantime, or about anything, feel free to shoot me a shot. Oh, pardon me. God, I've been getting into the gym pretty regular these days, and it's been good, and I'm feeling good about it. But the amount of being sore that happens after the gym, I'm glad I'm unemployed right now, because I think if I was like trying to hold down a job while getting into this as a routine, I would have blown my brains out. But I think I'm just about rounding the corner on being comfortable, enjoying my time there, enjoying the grind, and feeling healthier already. Getting my cardio in as part of the weight days, you know. I got a little like sort of 3-day week set up with my good lad Evan has set me up with a nice little routine, and it's been a lot of fun. This one clean. Yeah, we're good. These bowls I honestly kind of hate, but I've just had them for a long time, and they're a good shape and they stack well. So what are you gonna do? I do kind of want to replace them soon, though. They're starting to bother me a bit. I don't have any fancy notes about the kielbasa or whatever sausage you choose. I will just say it should be a hard smoked, like nice sort of springy, snappy sausage. And then I just like to go for like a bite-sized piece. So for these kielbasa, like a sort of 1/2 centimeter thick quarter coin, because these are like that nice wide diameter pieces. They are substantial. So yeah, pretty much it. Oh, hello, Quincy. Hi, Debbie. Hi. Welcome to Toronto. Welcome to beautiful Toronto via my kitchen. We got our gumbo here. I don't know if Velt has caught you up, but we're just finishing off my labor of love, my favorite signature dish for the cold weather, the gumbo. Yeah, it's awesome. I love it so much. Let's get back to a bit of a burble. I want to see some bubbles in there. We're really just trying to warm through all the meat and like sort of marry the flavors, but I want to see a burble. That's a food health and safety thing. Hi, Bonesy. Hi, Bonesy. You know, I gotta say, Bonesy was looking pretty handsome at Thanksgiving. That dog was rocking it. He was looking like he was having a good ass time. Have you brought Bonesy through to your work yet? Because I feel like people would love Bonesy. I mean, you work, it's like a vet clinic, right? So I feel like Bonesy might be a bit of a rock star there. I don't know. Oh, it's making that sound. It's making that rice sound. I did just hear that one of our guests is pretty spice averse, which honestly, you'd be surprised how much jalapenos can go into this and still get mellowed out by just the richness of everything going on. So luckily, what we've got here is actually not very spicy, and over rice, it'll be just like not a problem at all. But yeah, that is where the individual servings of cayenne pepper would come in if I can find my cayenne pepper, which I'm sure is somewhere. Drop the juiciest part of my turkey wing on the floor. You know what? Some days we gotta make those we love very happy by dropping food for them on the floor. Oh, a little bit of seaweed there. Yeah, I feel like we have cayenne pepper. I just don't know where it is, which is super cool. I mean, this is just like, I do gotta organize this. I'm not gonna mince words. I do gotta organize this. I think this might be a good place to put some little chili flakes, which we have in here. Am I crazy? That's oregano. Oh, I know we have chili flakes in here. That's also oregano. Why have so much oregano? What the hell? Damn. I mean, I feel like the vet's office has to have a bring your dog to work day, right? That's gotta happen. That's like the only workplace where you can't really get mad about that, I feel like. I want to apologize. I'm sure you've heard more than enough anti-dog sentiment from me, but you have to understand it's coming from a place where dogs should not be, which is food retail. And I've only had bad experiences with dog owners. Oh man, the sauce is right there. It has like the toastiness of that roux, imparts almost like a smokiness to what's going on. And all the other spices like come in and balance out. The vegetables come through really strong. That like sort of green pepper like bitterness is a really clean way to finish, and it makes it feel less cloying and less like I'm gonna like it's less like, you know, bloating, you know what I mean? And that's what I love about the green pepper in this. The vet brings her dog every shift. That's pretty cute. I remember we had this family cat, Chris, and the name is pretty funny. I think I must have been like, I don't know, 9, and my younger sibling was like 4 or 5. And we had gotten the cat, and Mom was asking us for names, and I wanted a cool name for the cat like Zeke or Spike. I thought those were just awesome. And then my younger sibling at age 4 was saying things like Meows, Fluffy, things of that nature. Very lovely names for a cat in like a children's book. And my mom was so fed up at the indecision that she said, what about Chris? What about like a normal guy name like Chris? And we said, okay. And then we found out later that the veterinarian who ended up rescuing him and putting him into the shelter we got him from was also named Chris. And she was so emotional at this revelation. She lost it. She was very lovely. She didn't pass away. The cat passed away, but I just haven't seen Chris the veterinarian in quite some time. But really, really cute story. You can see all my chicken bones in there. I'd pull them out to show you what the fibula is and where I'm talking about. But I think that might be a bit much. Oh, fuck, sorry. Wanted my sister to name me, and her first choice was Happy. That's really good. I actually got to name my younger sibling, and I kind of nailed it in one. I'm not gonna lie. I did go for a very simple name, Sarah, but I was thinking of Triceratops from The Land Before Time, and I want to say that one is spelled like C-E-R-A, like Michael Cera. My parents did go for a conventional spelling, which honestly, pretty fair. Can't fault them on that one. That was a good call. Did you use the bones for broth? So what happened was I had about 10 or 12 whole chicken legs and thighs, whatever I could find from my local butcher. Honestly, you can't really beat these prices for like chicken right now in Toronto. No, you actually totally can. I'm in like a really rich neighborhood, and I splurge on meat products. But I cooked them skin on, bone in. I braised them all the way through for 2 hours. And then about a half hour before coming back on the stream here, I pulled everything out, cooled it off a bit, and I picked all the meat. And so that is why we've got these little shreds here now. It's because I went through and de-meated the bones. I think you might have missed this part, but I was explaining that whole chicken legs, if you're braising them out, the fibula, so the second like really tiny bone that's inside the drumstick. Here, let me get a little marker. That's my diagram wall here. But you have your chicken leg, right? And you got your little kneecap. The kneecap also can fall out and be separate. If you braise this down for like, if you have a whole leg and you braise it down for like 5 to 6 hours, the kneecap will like gelatinize and sort of fall off. And it's not bone, it is cartilage, so that can be edible. I've actually really enjoyed, there's some East Asian like grill traditions, like yakitori is a good example, where the chicken kneecap is like a specific cut of the bird. And if you go in knowing this is crunchy, it's pretty nice. So the kneecap is cool, but if you don't know it's there, you want to avoid that. And then there's a little tiny bone right down here on the side, and it's so thin. Maybe for a more accurate width, we'll do that, right? And this tiny little fibula, this thing is so tiny that you can like hurt yourself on it if you leave it in your braises and your meat's falling off the bone. That can be like an issue. And also, that bone is so thin, it'll actually cook down and start to break down. You get little shards of it. And if this goes for like 4 hours, which happened one time to me, good luck getting that shit out. That's a nightmare. So 2 hours on the full braise is sort of my sweet spot for like the chicken will be fully cooked and I can take everything I want off of it, and I will only be leaving behind the bone cartilage at the ends here, and then the 3 major bones, and then the kneecap is going to come off as well with the cartilage. So that's sort of my favorite way to do this stew, and any sort of chicken stew like that. Anything like a coq au vin, you're really not braising it that long. That goes for like maybe an hour. An hour is enough to fully cook it, and then 2 hours at a lower temperature is enough to start breaking down like your collagens. And that's just gonna make this feel so rich, right? As when the chicken fats and the chicken connective tissue starts breaking down as well. It's sort of like, basically that's like the secret to barbecue, right? Barbecue is all about cooking meats way, way past being done, to the point where you reach a new level of being done, where stuff that initially you're not even touching with the heat and the time and the treatment is starting to break down and then provide a new layer of flavor and texture to the meat. That's what makes the brisket so special, is because it goes up to, your final internal temp on like a barbecue brisket is probably around 200 Fahrenheit, which is miles past well done for beef. But once you get to that temperature, you start to break down these interfiber connective tissues, and then those proteins and like fats will break down and sort of just coat everything in like that really beautiful, like fatty, juicy, shellacky, like sticky texture. And that's what makes brisket so good, and that's what happens to the chicken in even just like a 2 or 3 hour preparation, like a braise like this, is it'll happen to chicken as well, because chicken is just so much more delicate than beef, and it's so much leaner, and it's a lot easier to reach that point. How you are braising it? Yeah, I just did it in the stock pot the whole time, basically, or sorry, Dutch oven. I built the roux in here. I tossed in my vegetables. I tossed in my second layer of like more delicate aromatics, so like garlic, jalapeno, scallion, the white part of the scallion. Those are more liable to burn, so I toss those in afterwards. And then once I have my vegetable base in the roux, I tossed in all the dry spices, tossed in my tomato paste, Worcestershire sauce, a little secret ingredient. For my gumbo, I like to use Maggi. It's basically Worcestershire but for chicken, or fish sauce but for chicken, and then I also like to add actual fish sauce. Today we have some diners with us who are shrimp averse for various reasons, so I did not use shrimp stock, but that is my go-to and my secret weapon, which I love to use for this. But I did hold back today because I don't want no one getting sick. So... And then yeah, just tossed in the chicken legs whole. I did beforehand sear off the chicken in a separate pan to give it some color and flavor. And then I deglazed that pan with my stock and just sort of dumped all that in. And all the rendered chicken fat was sort of half of my fat base for the roux before I started adding in the flour. So we pretty much used every part of the bird except for just the bones. And even then the bones still simmered for like 2 hours. So they did add a lot of flavor and texture. And like I said, they're going to impart that collagen. It's going to help give you this like sticky, that stick to your ribsness, which is like, look at how like, even just tossing in the chicken back in, it's actually thickened up since then. And it's like much more substantial in the actual stew itself. Yeah, this is my favorite cold weather dish. I love this thing so much. And then yeah, just stovetop lid. I like to call this my 90% coverage, where I just do that. So you're trapping in most of your steam, but you're allowing it to reduce a little bit on the edges. Stir it every 20-30 minutes for about 2.5 hours, depending on how big your chicken pieces are. And then yeah, there you go. That is my full gumbo method. Oh, I do have to say, this is my favorite beer to use in gumbo. Henderson's Best Amber Ale. I think that a lager is nice. I think that an amber is incredible in gumbo. I just think it meets the roux in the middle. If you have like something even darker, like a porter or a stout, you start to sort of add a new dimension that is, I think, overpowering what you want out of the roux, and I think it adds too much sweetness usually. But an amber, I think, is just perfect. Like this beautiful red. I love this beer so much. This thing is awesome. There's a beer in Canada called Rickard's Red that is a really awesome, really awesome beer. It's so goofy and like it's pretty candy forward, honestly. Like it's pretty cheap and shitty for an amber. Beer! That's right. There's still one for you, Cammy, by the way, if you want one. Let's put that in the recycling. But yeah, this is like my favorite, this is, I think, one of my favorite beers in the city. It's always available. This is the nice version of Rickard's Red. You can see that color is like, almost like ruby at the top. It reminds me of like Rodenbach Grand Cru in the color. It gets so red up at the top there. And it's got that nice sort of like maltiness that I want from amber. So it does impart sweetness. It does develop into sweetness. But my feeling is that it develops sweetness at the same rate as your vegetables are. All the natural sugars in your onions, your garlic, even stuff like the bell peppers, right? Whereas if you were to caramelize the onions, if you were to add sweeter product going in, like a porter or a stout, I find that it adds too much sweetness at the front, whereas you want the sweetness to sort of be buried in the middle of the rich savoriness with that little bitter finish from the green peppers, from the roux, from the toastiness, that sort of like smoky finish off the sausage as well. And that is my theory of gumbo. That's my gumbo theory. I'm using kielbasa here. It's what's around. I would love to get access to like some pretty proper andouille at some point to do it like properly. But I find that this stuff does a great job of soaking up the flavor of the broth and giving out a little bit of that smoke. And that's kind of all you need the sausage for. Total like meat, I think you're almost 50-50 sausage to chicken. Once you take all the bones off. I got a Doppelbock from Trader Joe's that I fell in love with. I don't dislike sweet beer. I just like, if you're cooking with beer, usually people will say just use whatever cheap lager you have. And then if you're cooking for like a Guinness stew, usually everyone's like, use Guinness, right? This is the one thing that I make on the regular where I'm like, it has to be an amber ale for me. Which is a fun treat because I also love the amber ale too. But no, there's a bunch of sweeter beers that I really, really like. There's one in the city that I think is just about stopped production. I can't quite find it as much anymore. But it's actually named after the guilty remnant cult from The Leftovers. And I think the flavor is sort of inspired by their all-white wardrobe. I don't know if I told you about this. I think you might like this. But basically the beer is sort of like a really smoky s'mores, but with like sort of a coffee or chocolate note rather than like a chocolatey chocolate note, but like the toasted marshmallow flavor and like the vanilla. And I think it's also I think it's a lactose beer as well. And it's really fantastic. It's so good. And it's not that sweet, but all of the notes in it are so sweet forward. I am obsessed with that beer. I think it's incredible. Oh, Basmati's getting there. Pretty cool. I think I'll probably just show you guys what one plate up looks like, and then we'll sort of attend to our guests and make sure everyone's got the food that they are going to be enjoying. We got the table set up. Let's see what the table's looking like, actually. Okay. We're going to have to pull the leaves out of that thing. We got some posters up. We got some of our posters. These are my my fashion label from New York that I get a bunch of clothing from. A couple little Toronto indie artist. Telephone pole. Love this one. A bunch of these are the roommate stuff. The old SNL cast. Hi, Cami.
Hi.
Velt and Velt's family say hi.
Yay.
This is Cammy's daughter, Genevieve. Genevieve Osmanthus. What is it?
Genevieve Osmanthus, Lucid Dream Sweetheart.
Lucid Dream Sweetheart. She's losing a lot of blood lately, but she's okay. It's interesting seeing what happens to a latex glove after this much time with water inside of it, but also it's really cute. I can't be mad. Yeah, I have to upload those still. We'll hold on to those. Sorry. There's like this dumb contest right now in the shopping district where if you just post your receipts that are $15 or higher, you can win 10,000 bucks or whatever. So I'm just doing that because it costs $0.00 except for the money you shopped with, I guess. But that's like, I was gonna buy food anyways, you know, so. And it's funny because when you upload the receipts, the first question they say is, did you spend more money because of this promo than you normally would have? And I can't decide which answer they want to see on a winning ticket. So I've been putting, yes, I spent much more than usual. And hopefully that doesn't make anyone feel bad. Hopefully it works too. You still haven't seen The Leftovers. Oh my god, that show is so good. And yeah, it's not, I don't think it's a Funny Games poster. It is cool though. I like that one a lot. You want a little beer? Ho ho. I went for basmati today. Seemed like the right choice.
Well, that makes more sense than like sushi rice.
Yeah. Where's our rice scoop? It must be in the drawer. Aha. Cool. Aha. What's the fashion label? It used to be called Boot Boys. It was like bootleg stuff. And they would find like textbook images from like the 60s and 70s, etc. and sort of like compile them into these essays. I haven't read all the essays. I did end up getting a collection of all their written work that supports their fashion drops. They are since defunct, they're kind of just like changed names and branding, and now they're called Now Time. And the Now Time drops have been very infrequent, and I'm not gonna say underwhelming, but not as, I don't love them as much as the Boot Boy stuff. Award-winning funny games Halloween costume. That sounds really familiar. I can't quite remember. It does sound familiar though. I'm just gonna show you what a plate up would look like here once our rice is done, and then we'll hop off. Guests should be here medium soon. Did you need my hand doing the table leaves?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to do that now?
Sure.
Alrighty.
Let's also drag it out.
Sure. Oh, good call. Right, okay. Yeah, okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Yay, okay, thanks, baby. Nice. Oh, the little coquettish diagonal presentation. So nice. Oh, become big in rice. Oh, become big in rice. Rice shower shows you rice. Are you still playing Uma Musume? Who's out there still playing Uma Musume?
Shows you rice.
Shows you rice. I kind of want to get back into it, but I think I was off for too long and I missed the Meisho Dodo drop. I retired. I should never have let... Okay, I'm actually glad both of you are out because it means that I'm pretty much guaranteed to not get dragged back into it. So thank you guys. It means a lot to me. I don't regret giving it a try. Oh, yep, chair coming through. Hee. I don't regret giving it a try, but it did take, I don't know, 2 months for me to be like, you know what, it's kind of also just another mobile game. And it seems like I wasn't getting really good luck with my 3 sparks, so I was like, you know what, I might just cut my losses at this point. It takes a lot of willpower to not open it up and run a race. I'm not gonna lie, when I saw that they helped streamline the team fights, I was like, oh, if anything would get me back in, that would be pretty close, I have to say. But I feel strong in my conviction. I feel supported by my friends and loved ones to not play phone games anymore, or to not get back into a phone game, so that's all good. It works out for me. Should I be refrigerating my yeast if I'm going to use it up within 2 months? Yeah, yeast needs to live in the fridge, honestly. It's just safer for it. It isn't a live thing. It's very, like, if you're doing, like, regular, like, activated dry yeast and not, like, a sourdough starter, it should be in the fridge, yeah. Yeast in the fridge can honestly stay active for an unbelievable amount of time beyond its best by date. It's pretty shocking. Every time I've been like, well, this yeast is surely just fucked, I've given it an actual test and it's like more or less fine. So remember how bad training for the cups was? Yeah, it seems crazy. The cups seem fucked up. Packaged yeast, like the little packages, I think those are different. I don't really know. I just get the jars that where when you open the seal, you keep them in the fridge. I don't use a lot of yeast at home, I'm not gonna lie. Do you know about active dry yeast if you have like the packages, if it's like different from the jar stuff? I think the packages are hermetically sealed, so once you were to open the package, if you didn't use all of it, it should go in the fridge.
It should definitely go in the fridge, yeah. I've never used the packaged stuff.
I think you should treat them all as individual little jars, which means that they're shelf stable until you open them.
I think so.
That's what makes sense for me. Yeah, 3 years. I've had yeast that lived like 5 years in the fridge. I was at my last job and I had to discover how old all the yeast was and check it. And it was all like many years past its supposed best by date, and it was still active, which is unbelievable. That stuff was truly overperforming. Yeah, so the chicken's all shredding well apart, which is why I like having the sausage in there, so you get at least some nice firm pieces of meat in there. Honestly, this is a bit far past where I like to take the chicken, but it's okay. It's still gonna taste amazing. The problem with the Zoji bread machine, you can't really wake your yeast up manually. Interesting. Huh, that's a shame. Let's see where we're at. Let me get a nice piece of the kielbasa, which apparently I never cut all the way through. That's interesting. Oh, a nice little chicken nugget there. Very nice. Over to the sink. Ah. Oh yeah. When the sausage takes on enough heat and it starts to it's tender in the center, but it's still got that nice bite to it that is perfect. I'm officially gonna turn the heat off and leave the lid on just to make sure we're staying nice and warm here. And as soon as our rice is done, look at that, it's so much rice, it's so much rice. Can you hold your phone up to the camera so we get a Namjoon Pike feedback loop? The audio actually just comes from the audio just goes into the camera and there's no output. So that's not gonna happen. I could unmute the stream on my phone and do that, but I would like it to be relatively viewable. I'm gonna put the VODs up on YouTube at some point soon. I'm gonna figure out how to use YouTube. Okay, visual. Oh, okay, I understand now. Here, how's that working out? I'm gonna wait for myself to pick the phone up. I guess I could go more in the middle like that. Oh, that's pretty good. That's not bad. I feel like I'm doing Tay Zonde stuff. Remember that shit? Oh, this is beautiful. No problem. Anytime. Thanks for tuning in. It is easy to ask me to do anything. Oh, okay. It was getting eye strain trying to look at the phone. Oh, okay. I'd love to see that. That sounds really awesome. r/ask Reddit. My watched pot isn't really boiling. Does anyone know what to do? Should I give up? Maybe this whole cooking thing just isn't for me. The Tay Zonde TF2 stream is amazing. Lydia, do you remember the Giant Bomb Drew Scanlon feedback loop as well when they did that? Oh no, wasn't it Vinny Caravella opened up the stream on the stream and they all started like trying to do like multi-bit like routines? Write Fruit Loops on the wall. I'm not doing that. Okay, it's not. Okay, I lied. It's not that easy to make me do whatever. That's kind of. I'm not doing that. I'll try and pull it up when I get a chance to remember. That's a classic for me. I also saw like I showed Cammy some of the classic Giant Bomb moments, like the fucking the guess the number game from the holiday stream. That one is so good. Oh, I love that bit so much. It's incredible. Everyone forgot the number 4 existed for like a solid 3 minutes. It was incredible. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Oh, pachunk. Very nice. The rice looks pretty gorgeously fluffy. Give this a little lifty poo, a little tossy toss. Oh, I love when it's all just, it's so much that you can't even fucking move it. Haha. Yeah. Don't want to flip it out of the fucking container. That's really nice. Let's get a little... Great texture on the rice. We're gonna let it sort of finish steaming off for a couple minutes, and then we're good to go. Vinny, yeah, I didn't know that you watched Giant Bomb Veld. I forgot about that, or I might not have actually known that. Abby was so funny. When Abby showed off her true like white woman Super Saiyan stuff when she launched into the fucking Sims, like I'm making all my friends in the Sims and making them do horrible things to each other. That shit was awesome. I learned so much on that stream about how the Sims works. I want some more scallions here. I'm kind of running a little bit low, it feels like. But the Sims streams were amazing to me. I was just floored. I thought those were so incredible. The Bin Laden raid, oh my god, I forgot about that. Jesus Christ. Felt like a lifetime ago. So beautiful. God, what an era. Have you been keeping up with any of the other stuff those guys got up to? Like the Next Lander things or whatever? Because I love Vinny Caravella. I like Brad Shoemaker as like a concept, but he's also just like kind of a boring and dumb guy. But I think he's very charming and very normal. It's the kind of thing where like I think that they're phenomenally funny and charismatic, but anytime they talk about their opinions on video games, I just don't care anymore. You know what I mean? Damn, I'm really cutting this like shit on this stupid cutting board that I hate. That sucks. What is that? A leprechaun's green penis? Eat him or a chef? Fucking hell. Alright, cool. So, I'm gonna take the whiter bits here, sort of give them a little toss through the gumbo, and then the rest of these we'll put into our garnish pot here. No, okay, Lydia, I'm really glad you mentioned this because I want to clear something up. The kitty pot technique is literally the actual correct way to cut things at home. I found it very strange the way that it's... I've had some friends, I will not name names, but they talked about how the kitty pot technique is like fake bullshit for anime. No, it's like actually how you are supposed to cut things in a kitchen to not hurt yourself. That is how you build up speed. That's the whole thing. That is the whole point of it. It is like, you go to culinary school and if you've never held a knife before, your ass is learning the kitty pot technique, straight up. Of course, you could also do the Miyako kitty pot technique, which we all know. Was it Evan? No. Dude, Evan, I love Evan, and I make fun of Evan, but he knows his shit. I'm talking about online people. The Miyako kitty pot technique. Meow. Everyone knows that one. I didn't want to hit it super hard because I like my knife too much. We should get a Chinese cleaver soon. That would be awesome. Okay. Good news, everybody. The camera is digging a fucking hole into my forehead and the rice is probably good to scoop out now, so I'm gonna show you how we plate this son of a gun up. People think it's fake because they have a terrible knife. That's the thing, right? Is like, if your knife sucks and you don't know how to sharpen it right, and you don't want to go through the effort of sharpening it right or buying a new knife that's sharp, then honestly, do whatever you have to in your house that doesn't cause an injury. Yeah, I definitely think like the key understanding is that the kitty paw is not meant to hold your food firmly in place. That should be the job of gravity. And your knife should not be fucking up gravity by being hard to cut with to an extent that like makes it hard. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little fancy plate up here, a little cuteness. I'm getting a little cup measure here. I'm not packing it in so tight because it's not that important. I kind of don't want to jam up my rice grains. You know, rice is on the delicate side, right? So just be nice with it. Just make a nice full cup here, nice and flush, a little bit overflowing. Boom, boom, boom. A little bit of that. And that's the stream, everybody. Yeah, the bottom of this metal cup got really hot, so you gotta be careful about that. Well, that's pretty much what you want to do. Wow, this is so fucking hot. Holy shit, every part of this got so hot. Oh my god. Okay, well, I'm gonna eat this rice. This is my rice. Ow. This is why it's so important to clean off your counter when you're cooking. Ow, ow. That happened twice in glass blowing yesterday. Why were you guys making rice and glass blowing yesterday? Rocking the Cutco. What's Cutco? Is that like a slap chop, basically? Okay, so let's say you don't have a cup measure. Maybe that happened to you. I like doing it this way, and this is a nice way to do it if you don't want to bother with the shit that just made me spill my rice on the counter. Sort of like a little pat, 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 pat. Make a nice little mound. And you're gonna grab your ladle. Stir those scallions all through. And you're just gonna pour it around the outside. And you want to make a big fucking smear on the edge of your plate so it looks like shit. Oh my god. You guys shouldn't learn anything from me. I'm like a hack. Okay. Boom. Very nice and beautiful. And then in the middle, it's a little bit of that sauce. And then you get your scallions and you go, oh my god, look at this long piece of garbage. Jesus Christ, what a nightmare. Oh, this is the worst meal I've ever made in my life. This is so stupid. No, but basically, get a little corner of that paper towel. Mop that puppy up. That sounds like the guests are here. And I haven't cleared them being on stream, so I won't do that. But that is our final plate up, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for chatting. And yeah. That's how you make gumbo. Catch the VODs on YouTube shortly as soon as I figure out how YouTube works. And